This show is now beginning. Don't forget to share us and support us via the links and buttons. Welcome to the Ahn Shin-Ae Show, where your mental fitness is our business. We are here to guide you through the difficult times in your life and to expose those who cause you difficulties. We do not manipulate context, we expose it. Enjoy our podcast, share this podcast with your friends and families, encourage others to be an active audience of our podcast, and donate to our podcast via our Anchor podcast link. Buy our books on Amazon.com by typing Shin-Ae into the Amazon.com search box. Thank you. And now for something completely different.
The Constitution of the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya and global government for we the people. A global government. So you're saying that a made-up country is now authorized to exemplify and exact control over every other nation in the world because reasons. Because this is totally how people work in the real world, who are completely not out of their fucking mind. Created, approved, and authorized by Daehaminguk Shaniya National Government. Proceeds not to name anyone else but himself. Written by Ahn Shin-Ae, as heard by the Ahn Shin-Ae Show, authorized May 23rd, 2012. Effective on June 30th, 2012. Yeah, because I'm sure that made a big difference. Where was this part of the newspaper, I wonder? The Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya is a fascinating and amazing nation full of innovative ideas, culture, and ideology. Ideology and ideas are already linked, so I don't get why you said both. It is a democratic republic. Its national religion is Buddhism. Its currency is the Yuna. And it has its own constitution, Bill of Rights, laws, and bylaws. The Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya is a democratic republic. It's almost as if when you call it a democratic republic, it automatically implies that it is one just by the fucking title, but okay. You didn't need to say it twice, champ. The Democratic Republic is defined as a form of government operating on principles adopted from a republic and a democracy. Yeah, but the fact is the republic also is what the Republican Party today are going on, so you might want to think about that before you start trying to co-opt that, because it sounds like you might be getting a little bit more conservative. The Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya is also a socialist nation, with the understanding that every human being has the right to equal personal economic growth, or ETUPG, and equal representation of / by the government in relation to protecting the rights of every human being in every capacity available. The protecting of human rights is the top priority of the Daehaminguk Shaniya National Government, or DSNG. The government's main, you couldn't even say government is a possessive noun, you had to say as in plural. Main political components consist of the four branches of the government: Parliament branch, Dictatorate branch, Egalitarian branch, and Universal branch. It sounds like you tried to copy the United States legislative, judicial, and executive branch, but you had to make it different just to make it sound like it was bigger and fancier and much superior compared to the original. Spoiler alert, we're about to get into some stupid bullshit where he babbles about nothing. Parliamentary branch. A parliamentary government is a system in which the powers of the executive and legislative branches are intertwined as opposed to being held separate as a check against each other's power, as the founding fathers of the United States demanded in the United States Constitution. Well, the reason they wanted to be able to check and balance is so that no one branch would become more powerful than the others. It's common sense. You don't let one person have all the power and have no one have anything, especially when power goes to people's heads. Just like how water has gone to the authors. In fact, the executive branch is in a parliamentary government, draws its power directly from the legislative branch. That's because the top government official and members of his cabinet are chosen not by voters, as is the case in the presidential system in the United States, but by members of a legislature. So what you're saying is that if someone wanted to have all their circle jerk buddies in their cabinet, they could, and basically it would allow them to basically just keep sucking money from the taxpayers and the people. Good idea. Parliamentary governments are common in Europe and the Caribbean. They are also more common than worldwide than presidential forms of government. Well, it's because a lot of the countries that have those other governments have been around a lot longer than the United States, thus resulting in their government being quite different. Directorate branch. The directorate branch is a government branch that is the mediator between the parliament, the people, period. Just period. Like, the parliament and the people? No, just the people. The directorate branch makes sure that the individual... I'm so used to saying individual in this fucking thing. The initiatives of the parliamentary branch are active and are carried out in regards to the citizenry directly. Citizenry. Not to the citizens or the people.
The Ahn Shin-Ae Show and PenaVega Entertainment Group are excited to announce the grand opening of the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya, a global government with your best interests at heart, and 100% slavery free. We want to welcome you to become a citizen of the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya by sending in a citizenship request to immigrants@protonmail.com. Because of the fact the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya is a global government, you don't even have to move, unless you want to, because you do have the right to freedom of movement. Also by the multiple books on the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya on Amazon and the Not in Service series. We also have the Triggered series available on Amazon.com. All proceeds go to make your life worth so much more and to support the Ahn Shin-Ae Show and PenaVega Entertainment Group. Remember, citizenship is free and buying these books are voluntary. But you will be blessed for many lifetimes because you helped someone else to be their better selves. Buy the Not in Service books, Triggered books, or the Daehaminguk Shaniya books today and definitely become a citizen of the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya right now.
Citizenry. Without any confusion. Delay. Yeah, no comma, no letter or, no word or, just delay. Okay, thanks for the grammar, champ. The editorial branch also achieves the official act of mediator between the people and the government. You mean maintains or acts on. The editorial branch also has the authority to create, mediate, and pass legislation with or within. You mean with or within the realms of human rights, civil liberties, and social issues, which include social justice, bullshit, societal reforms, necessary in some ways, protected minorities, fair enough, immigrants, fair enough, and those who are victimized by a failing and oppressive capitalistic system, as well as update or upgrade the Constitution. Well, here's the thing. How can someone in your country be suffering from a system if your country's a socialist country? Then how in the fuck is someone suffering from capitalism if they are not living in your country? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. You cannot be suffering from capitalism if you live in a socialist country because capitalism is not present in that government's economy. So you're not making any sense. Or is this another anti-America bit? Because remember, you hate living here so much, but you won't leave it. It's almost like you know you'll be killed elsewhere. Another thing, it's called an amendment. It's not an upgrade or an update. You just amend it. So long as said acts does not supersede the Constitution or violates the individual human rights or civil liberties of the people who it/they represents. You're about to go into a bunch of shit that's going to violate people's civil liberties and civil rights, but okay. This branch has the right to create and update laws regarding issues that has a direct effect on the population, which includes but are not limited to education, global warming, abortion, LGBT, P plus right. I keep saying P plus because I'm so used to seeing it in the fucking books. LGBT, P plus right, T plus, god damn it. LGBT rights. There, I'm just gonna say that. LGBT rights. Because I'm not gonna say the plus, because every time I say the plus, my brain keeps trying to rectify it to be what this dipshit actually means instead of what he's typing now. Rights, marriage, racial equality, healthcare, etc. The electoral branch does not have the authority to deny rights to any human being or deny the rights to the LGBT plus community, or to favor radical right-wing agendas for an antisocial and Republican nature. Again, if your country is primarily socialist, then odds are you wouldn't have anyone like that in your country because you'd probably have them exiled. It is also not authorized to try and manipulate and or control the individual lifestyle of a human race on a personal level. 90% of what you try to do is that, except you try to do it in like really creepy, lame-ass ways where you try to influence people into hating someone. Meaning that the very existence of the declarative branch is to protect the very existence of the human race without creating anti-human legislation or acting in ways that presents a narrative for anti-human behavior. Translation: you don't believe in punishing people for doing criminal things. Egalitarian branch. The egalitarian is a contested concept in social and political thought. One might care about human equality in many ways for many reasons. As currently used, the label egalitarian does not necessarily indicate that the doctrine so-called holds that it is desirable that people's condition to be made the same in any respect, or that people ought to be treated the same in any respect. An egalitarian might rather be one who maintains that people ought to be treated as equals, as possessing equal fundamental worth and dignity, and as equally morally considerable. Yeah, but then people like you tend to take a shotgun to that. Therefore, the egalitarian branch is the authority of appointing national judge, upholding the law, and maintaining equality and justice for all. Well, here's the thing. If you really did have your own country, you wouldn't really maintain equality for all, because anytime someone that were to speak against you, you would just have your political dissenters killed or thrown out of your country. You would basically do what people did to Amos Yee, except instead of actually subverting the government like he did, they'd just simply say, I don't agree with this because I find this to be detrimental to people's safety. You would just immediately find that as a way to like throw them out of the fucking country and potentially put them in a death sentence. Because let's face it, you would kill people if you could. You would kill people for politically disagreeing with you if you found a way to do it. But you don't have any authority and any power, so you can't. It has the authority to subpoena, create, and act upon indictment, and to provide general judicial support services and legal resources. It is also divided into four elements: the Supreme Court, Municipal Court, and Provincial Courts. Now here's the thing, like, you're basically just said local, state, and federal. But instead of it being like local, state, and federal, like in the United States, you tried to make it into four, but I've only seen three here. Supreme, Municipal, and Provincial. These are three instead of four. Can you not fucking count? Universal branch. Oh, here comes the big load of fucking honky-donkey hooey. Universal branch. The universal branch is the concept of a common political authority for all humanity, giving way to a global government and a single state of polity, with jurisdiction over the entire world. So what you're saying is, any of your bullshit laws automatically automatically supersede the laws of whatever country someone else lives in if you decide that your laws are more true than theirs. See, you're basically being Hitler, except you're not doing it using violence. You're trying to do it using rhetoric and propaganda. The only reason you don't do it using violence is because you know you couldn't handle every government in the world nuking you off the planet. The universal branch of government has the authority to create and enforce laws on an international and intergalactic scale. How? What gives you the right to decide what laws are and are not valid in other countries where you have no fucking authority? It also actively has universal jurisdiction and the Constitution validity. You couldn't even say constitutions, you can't even use fucking plural or possessive nouns. Is not bound by international borders or even the limits of Earth. So what you're saying is if I was on Mars telling you to go fuck yourself because you're out of your goddamn mind, you would presume to have the legal right to try to persecute me for shit. But you wouldn't be able to because you don't have any real authority or any power. The universal branch also has the authority to charge people for crimes in other countries while utilizing this constitution. Merge countries, property, individuals, etc. into the citizenry of the Daehaminguk Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya without having to move to another physical location, and creates a division-less, instead of divisionless, it's division-less society, both free and equal. It's not only free or equal if you're openly telling people that your made-up country has the right to decide what laws do and do not apply to people. Because it's not free or equal. Because you are automatically assuming that your laws have more validity and more power than any other fucking country on the world, even in that country's own fucking, even on its own land. You're essentially making the argument that your bullshit laws have more authority over a country than the country's leaders who make the laws. You're out of your fucking head. The universal branch can also cooperate with the other three branches of government, share information with the other three branches of government, and even act as diplomatic universal ambassadors on behalf of the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya. Yeah, you go ahead, go to other countries and tell them that you would like to merge them into your collective, and look at the person telling you that as they tell you to go fuck yourself and call you crazy. The universal branch also has the authority to adopt international laws and incorporate them into the official laws of this country, as long as said laws do not conflict with the Constitution of human rights and others, regardless of race, sexuality, gender identity, religion, height, income, etc. Well, why would income matter? The term universal jurisdiction refers to the idea of a national court may persecute individuals for serious crimes against international law, such as crimes against humanity, war crimes, genocide, and torture based on the principle such crimes can harm the international community or international order itself, which individual states may act upon to protect. Generally, universal jurisdiction is invoked when other traditional bases of criminal jurisdiction are not available. For example, the defendant is not a national of the state. You mean a citizen of the country. Of the state. The defendant did not commit a crime in that state's territory against its nationals, nor the state's own international interests are not adversely affected. As a nation with universal jurisdiction, the official document is not limited to just one country. Furthermore, the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya can be established and expanded anywhere in the world, which contradicting the already established national entity already in place. Instead, said entity would be merged into the system of the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya without said location losing its heritage, tradition, language, way of life, etc., except for cases where said entities violates human rights and or peaceful existence of others. In that case, the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya will replace questionable violations not including human beings or any living creature thing with a universally sound peaceful entity which has been approved by the universal branch. So what you're saying is that you could decide what countries can punish what crimes. That's what you're saying. You're saying that you're going to merge your country with another country temporarily so that you can decide whether or not someone should or should not be punished for a crime if you feel that person is either being punished too harshly or the person is not being punished sufficiently. Go fuck yourself. National government and the people of both areas in question. Well, here's the thing. The government of any country will not approve of your country trying to absorb them temporarily, because you would have no right to make them adhere to your laws just so you could prosecute someone over nonsense. More importantly, if this was a thing, every government in the world would tell you to fuck yourself, because you're technically violating their right to being a sovereign nation when you start trying to make them bend over and adhere to your laws. Because you're not trying to have a prisoner expedited back to your country to be punished for crimes they committed in another nation. You're not doing that. You're straight up trying to suggest that other people should be extracted from their homes and charged for a crime that you made up. And you're also suggesting that the government should tolerate you trying to punish people under the bullshit banner of a country that's fictional. No one's going to do that. No government's going to get along with that idea, because you're more or less telling them, I have the right to decide what laws work in your country. No world leader is going to take that lying down unless they're blind, deaf, and dumb. Universal jurisdiction also means that more people can benefit from protection of the human rights. They have more freedoms in everyday lives. And that said freedoms are not limited to one type of person, tribe, nation, or even continent. It means that every single individual on planet Earth and off-world can receive equal treatment, equal rights, equal freedoms, and equal pay, uniformly without discrimination. For example, the freedom of privacy is protected under this Constitution and is enforced via the egalitarian branch. Because the entire government has universal jurisdiction, that means that every human being in existence has access to freedom of privacy. Unless, of course, you're me, then he'll constantly try to say things about you that will get people to try to lynch you. Naturally, this universal jurisdiction is not means for democratic Daehaminguk to infringe on the existence of others, but to bring leverage to an ever-growing and everyday advancing society. Well, here's the thing. You're not trying to advance society. You're more or less saying that your government, your laws, your rules have the right to supersede every rule, just so long as you believe it turns the world into a fuddy-duddy Disneyland. Amendments 2. 1. There is no age restriction of any person, and government shall not implement, vote on, pass, and/or create any law restricting the livelihood of people and their right to freedom of choice, freedom of movement, and freedom of expression involving age for any reason. So what you're saying is that this person should be allowed to drink, smoke, and gamble and do whatever dumbass thing they want to do, even if they're like 7 years old and they don't know any better. Like, who cares if that little kid gets lung cancer or fucking liver failure or emphysema or even heart disease? He drank like 5 5/5 of Jack Daniels a day. He chain smoked like a motherfucker. He smokes a carton of cigarettes a week, drinks 5 bottles of Jack a week. But remember, the fact that his organs are failing and the fact that he's dying before he's even old enough to really drive a car, that's perfectly fine. We are more than willing to give our children poison if it means that we think we're being more free. You might as well just give everyone that's barely gotten into elementary school a bottle of Jack and a cigarette and say, here you go, fuck up your life now because it was going to be too late later on. 1A. Therefore, this Constitution will not be limited by any means to the restriction of age discrimination, and/or labels that create a narrative of age discrimination or age discrimination. You said age discrimination twice in like the same sense. You didn't need to. The entire Constitution and laws created and passed will equally serve all of humanity as a whole, aka every individual person and living being. Age will not be a barrier or a deference in the evolution of the human race. Age never existed to begin with. Translation: it doesn't exist because I say it doesn't. Nor will the government recognize, promote, create, and/or pass any laws that will encourage and/or approve of any element, the division of the human race, or any age restrictions at any cost. No individual can restrict any human being based on age or, turn the page, age-related narrative, belief, motive, political motive, ideology, and/or religious beliefs, or individual thought. Translation: if you say age exists, he's immediately going to say it's not real, and you're going to be punished for it in some way. 1B. There are no consent laws or clauses enacted in the Democratic Republic Shaniya laws, Bill of Rights, or Constitution, nor shall any laws be passed promoting said narrative. All human beings have the right to fully and wholeheartedly utilize their rights to freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of intelligence, freedom of expression, and freedom of sexual exploration. Well, here's the thing, though. If you acknowledge that someone has freedom of choice and freedom of intellect, that means they should be able to choose yes or no when someone's trying to engage in a sexual act with them. So tell me something. Is it or is it not a human choice to say, no, I'm just not attracted to you and I don't want this? Or tell me something. Is it just your way to try to tell people that it's okay for someone to be a fucking rapist as long as you personally don't see it to be a bad thing? Here we go again with your rape and pedophile apology shit. 1C. No human being has the authority to abuse another human being and or be abused by another human being. However, no human being shall consider love as a form of abuse or abuse as a form of love. No, people refer to sexual abuse, where people attack someone sexually against their will. That's not the same fucking thing as someone actually... Like, why do you use sex and love interchangeably? When people talk about sexual abuse, it's sexual abuse, it's not love. I hope you fucking die, you miserable pedophile, child-molesting, rape-loving piece of shit. Let's be honest, if you saw someone's father molesting them, you'd be fine with it. Well, that's love, that's love. I hope someone slits your throat while you sleep. D. A person's sex life is the responsibility of the individual and not the responsibility of any outside motivations. It's not a motivation. If you see someone getting sexually assaulted, you have a duty to step in and stop it. Their lifestyle is their choice, and no human being has the authority to meddle in another person's sex life, which includes, but is not limited to, couples, single individuals, married couples, individuals with alternative lifestyles, and people in general. Nor is a person's sex lifestyle the responsibility of the government authority, legal organization, political party, political persuasion, religious group, church organizations, or/slash individual. Well, here's the thing. If a person's sex life is their responsibility, and they have the right to choose, then that means they have the right to say no. So tell me something. If someone says no when someone decides to knock them unconscious and sodomize them while they're unconscious, is that or is that not a crime? 2. The choice of the people is respected by the government. Even the government does not agree with said choices. Well, here's the thing. Is the government going to persecute someone for actually committing a sexual crime, or is that not a thing to you at all? Oh wait, it's not a thing to you at all, because your whole idea of violence is someone smashing you across the head with a brick. Wish someone would. It'd be fantastic. However, the government continued to have the authority to create and enforce laws against ideologies that condemns, persecutes, or suppresses and/or forces religious, homophobic, political, rapist, transphobic, radical, and anti-human notions. Dude, your whole idea of an anti-human notion is that when someone disagrees with you, you spurg out and and then you start demanding they tolerate your shithead behavior. When they don't, you lose your mind. 2A. The government has no authority to censor the people unless an individual, political organization, and/or religious group abuses their right to freedom of speech and/or expression to verbally, physically, emotionally, and/or spiritually abuse others, like the likes of others, and to bully others because of the difference on any level. Translation: I believe in freedom of speech, but only in a way that I deem you can say it. It's not really freedom of speech if you actively give a bunch of caveats as to why someone cannot say something when you're the one writing the fucking rules. 2B. The freedom of sexual expression belongs to every human being without discrimination. Love is love. It is when it's between two consenting teenagers or adults, not a 5-year-old and a 30-year-old, or a 10-year-old and a 30-year-old, or a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old. No individual has the authority to abuse, bully, or harass any individual for who said individual has sex with. Yeah, they do. They have every right to criticize and admonish people who are pedophiles, for fuck's sake, who admit to thinking that it's okay to fuck small children. See, people like you should be locked in fucking cages. And I'm referring to the author, because they're openly saying that they condone pedophilia in this. Nor can any person violate said individual's right to freedom of privacy because of it. Well, what about the sex offender registry? Are you going to go up to the US government and say that they're not allowed to have a sex offender registry published? Dumbass. 3. No human being has the right to violate the privacy of someone else, both social media, which includes YouTube, or in person. Well then why the fuck are you trying to violate other people's privacy by leaking their names and shit? You're violating your own fucking rules. 4. Black Lives Matter, and the people have the right to support, understand, and respect the black lives of the lives of black individuals. That makes nothing but sense. That does make sense. No one ever said they didn't. 4A. There is no room for racism in the government of any element of the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya. The national government has the authority to provide resources to any individual who has suffered at the hands of racist, homophobic, transphobic, religious organizations, etc. The Directorate branch is authorized to provide restitution for those who request it within reasons that do not violate the Constitution. Translation: if you're mean to me, I'll make it seem like it's a much bigger deal than it really is, and then I'll scream and cry about it and lose my mind. 5. Religious cults like the JC2 and others have no authority or in any aspect of the government or the people. Freedom of religion is welcomed in the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya so long as it does not cause harm to others, forces religion on others, promotes hatred against other groups or minorities, and/or causes emotional, physical, financial, or psychological harm. Well, the reason it calls you financial harm is because you realize you couldn't keep scamming people when you realize that everything's getting leaked for fucking free. Fuck yourself up the ass. 6. Marriage is defined by this document as between two or more people who have made the personal choice to unify themselves with another. Therefore, all marriage is protected and no law shall be a barrier for anyone who wants to be married, have a girlfriend/boyfriend, be in a relationship, love or be loved. No organization, individual, religious group, party, political party, etc. can change, alter, or corrupt this amendment. Same-sex marriage or any other types of marriages are protected by this document. Every human being wants to engage in marriage, a sexual experience, being engaged, etc., to do so at their own discretion, not discretion, without any backlash from the government. Again, you're condoning child marriage and people marrying fucking animals. Because you're not specifying whether or not you want 2 men or 2 women or like a handful of adults to be married to each other. 6b. Marriage in all forms is handled by a universal branch, local representatives. Anyone who is alive can marry and experience love to its fullest. Yeah, anyone who's alive. So you're more or less condoning child marriage here. 7.
this boy is not my son. Can't you see what it means to me? This boy is not my son. Gage Kirby is an idiot. This boy is not my son. People want to hate for granted. That was so funny. Can't you see what it means to me? This boy is not my son. But Gage Kirby doesn't want an education. He just want to go and fight. Create a plague of humanity and divide us all. It's might. That's the whole big problem, though. Ever listen to you, listen, see. We're going to hold him accountable.
No human being, dead or alive, has the right to any capacity to bear arms, guns of any kind, variety, or any reason, nor shall the law be passed to do otherwise against this amendment. Translation: you don't want guns in your home or in your country because you're afraid someone will finally turn one on you. 7. Guns for historical purposes are approved, but never to use outside of the supervision of this document. Nor shall said gun be used in any function that will harm another human being in any capacity and or violates this Constitution. Go fuck yourself. 7b. All guns are illegal and should never be allowed to be exported out of any member state of the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya, nor imported from any other country into both the member states and the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya. Is it also never approved to produce guns at any capacity, sale or buy any gun or gun-related object, ammo, silences, etc. Also, no guns can be bought from a gun-friendly nation and then brought or smuggled into any member state and or the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya. Okay, what exactly would you define as a member state? Because you're one country, but there's no state there. 8. The people have the right to protest and the freedom to assemble, as long as said protest and or assembly does not support a notion of racism, anti-LGBT, transphobia, homophobia, etc. Translation: you'll tell people what they can and cannot protest. Here's the thing. I think a lot of these, I think you should obviously disagree with these people, but these people should still have the right to protest, even if you disagree with it. The best thing to do is laugh it off and mock the idiocy of it, instead of actively saying you can't do it, because at that point, you're suppressing their rights in a way that can actually be detrimental to you more than them. 9. The people have the right to free elections and to participate in political office and discourse so long as said actions are in no way, shape, or form affiliated with or acted upon by a Christian or radical religious group or ideology, which includes but are not limited to any individual group or organization connected to a member or affiliated with the form of conservative party, Republican Party, Christian-based political party, religious conservatives, or any anti-LGBT, racist, or anti-human party, organization, or individual. Translation: you would actively suppress voters so that people can't vote for what you don't like. See, here's the thing. You say that you do not discriminate based upon religion, but you're doing it right now because you're openly saying that Christians can't vote in your country. So tell me something. Why in the fuck would anyone want to do this? Who'd want to be in a country where you can just decide who can and can't protest about what, who can't vote, who can't own guns? You're basically just taking a lot of the civil liberties people have in the United States and then warping them so that you try to turn this place into a Disneyland. 10. The people has the right to wear what they want. Have the right. Clothing, shoes, hijab, etc. without censorship. And no government shall infringe on this right by any means, which includes, but is not limited to, creating laws, bylaws, and notices, etc. to contradict this amendment. 10.8. Nudity is legal in the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states, and is approved to be naked in public in any circumstance. So what you're saying is you think it's okay for a grown man to be walking around with a hard-on in front of a playground full of elementary school children. And yet you wonder why everyone thinks you're fucking crazy. It is the choice of the individual how they will dress or not dress, and the government shall approve any legislation restricting the people's right to freedom of expression and freedom of utilized free will, both of which is protected by this document. Well, here's the thing. You say people have the right to free will, but people don't have the right to say yes or no to sex to someone that they don't like. So tell me something. Is free will only... does it only matter when you want it to work, or does it matter only when you need it to? 11. The Democratic National Government is authorized to give universal personal income, or UPI, to every individual person from the day they are created to the day they expire. From birth until death. Why are you saying created? You're not created, you're born. Because you don't just pop into existence. You don't. Your parents fuck, and then 9 months later you're born. Maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit sooner. Depends on if you have complications during birth. But the fact is, you're like, when you say created, it makes it sound like someone just like got a ball of clay and then molded you in a split second, and you just turned into a fully grown human being, like from right then and there. When the reality is, you're born first, and you grow and grow and grow and grow, and then you're an adult. You're fucking crazy. After expiration of said individual, the UPI does not have to be paid back and is transferred over to their family. So what you're saying is that if someone has a bunch of family members that just die, they'll be collecting the income of like 37 people. Yeah, that wouldn't fucking bankrupt the economy at all when they're paying for people that have been dead for almost a century. 11A. The UPI is to be used at the discretion of the individual in question. It is the responsibility of the dictatorate branch to make sure every citizen receives their UPI. 12. Human rights are moral principles or norms for certain standards of human behavior and regularly protected in municipal and international law. They are commonly understood as inalienable fundamental rights to which a person is inherently entitled simply because he or she is a human being. That's what inalienable means. And which are inherent to all human beings, regardless of their age, ethnic origin. Well, you say age doesn't exist, so why are you using age as a way to describe it if you say age doesn't exist in this document? Location, language, religion, ethnicity, and other status. They are applicable everywhere and at every time in the sense of being universal, and they are egalitarian in the sense of being the same for everyone. They are regarded as requiring empathy and the rule of law, and in imposing an obligation or persons to respect the human rights of others, and is generally considered they should not be taken away and expected as a result of due process based on scientific circumstances. Well, here's the thing, though. You don't give people due process. You don't. Because your whole idea of due process means that you accuse someone of something and then you treat it as though a jury has decided that they're guilty. That's not what I would call due process. 13. The Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya condemns White History Month and straight pride. These things are racist and bigoted. It is illegal in the Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. Why is White History Month racist, but Black History Month isn't? I really don't believe that any particular race deserves History Month. I believe it should be a month. I believe that figures of note in history should be celebrated regardless of their race. I think Martin Luther King Jr. deserves celebration regardless. Same thing with President Nelson Mandela. These people actually deserve recognition for the good they did in the world. I think straight pride is kind of a stupid fucking thing because you shouldn't be proud to just be born the way that you are. You should just be happy being alive and experiencing life at all. Gay pride I understand because people were unfortunately really fucking horrific to gay people for the longest fucking time. That's quite different than people that were kept trying to push the whole straight pride thing, because realistically, there's no point in trying to being proud of being straight, because being straight and being proud of that doesn't mean anything. Because realistically, a lot of people that are people that are heterosexual never really faced any real bigotry in society, unlike gay people, where they celebrate pride because of the fact of all the progress they've made towards equality. That makes sense for people to actually be proud of being gay, because they're proud that they've made these leaps and bounds in equality, which have made the United States and the world a much better place. But remember, you're gonna call me a homophobe, despite the fact that I have openly mocked straight pride, but the fact that I've openly supported gay pride just now. But remember, you're gonna call me a homophobe for that because you're out of your fucking mind. 14. Bullying will not be tolerated in this country, which includes cyberbullying. Oh, I'm sorry, am I hitting a nerve? Homophobia and transphobia, as well as attacking and abusing those for their differences, is illegal in both the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states. It's illegal. So what are you gonna do, dipshit? Are you gonna go up to everyone on the fucking internet and start telling them they can't say shit you don't like? Are you gonna travel? Are you gonna find people? Are you going to find people and basically have them escorted to a jail cell or a re-education facility where they will be made to fit their behavior modifications that you've set on them? And if not, will they be killed? I want to know, because you're sounding more like a dictator, because you're trying to control people and make it sound nicer than it really is. I mean, anyone that's ever played Borderlands 2, for example, they remember the friendship gulag. It didn't change the fact that it was still a fucking gulag, regardless if you put the word friendship in front of it or not. Just because you make it sound fucking pretty, doesn't mean it is. You're basically just trying to make it sound nicer than it is, because you're more or less saying that you would do whatever you could to arrest people and prosecute them for calling you ugly online. Grow up. 15. Fake news, slander, character assassination, being a confidence trickster, forcing conservative narratives and ideologies on others, racism, and creating unsafe environment for others is not tolerated in any way, shape, or form. Translation: if someone says anything mean about you on the internet, you're going to do whatever you can to remove them from it. And if you can't do it, you're going to scream and cry and do whatever you can to try to kill them, but you can't do it because no one's afraid of you. 16. The G-redacted conservative cult, or GC2, is a radical far-right religious friends group that produces racist, transphobic, and anti-Asian democracy and anti-human fake news, conservative doctrine, and ideologies. Say that 5 times fast. This cult and its members are banned from the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states. Translation: you criticize me and call me a crazy motherfucker. And because of that, I deem you to be some sort of religious sect, when the reality is everyone there is either an agnostic, an atheist, or... well, I'm not sure. I think most of the people that I'm around are either deist, agnostics, or atheists. No one in my friend group actually has, like, a straight-up religion that everyone fucking conforms to. You're fucking crazy. 17. The Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states hold the true pledge to combat global warming. We accept the challenge to join other nations in cleaning up the environment, creating a green economy, making the cost of living lower, while enhancing quality of life for every individual and group. This would be a good idea if you weren't out of your fucking mind. 18. White supremacy is not tolerated anywhere in the time of Democratic Republic or its states. Well, here's the thing. You claim to be all about free speech. You claim to be all about people's freedom of choice. But then you're also cracking down on people's freedom of belief, because you're saying that they don't have the right to believe what they want. Now, granted, I think these fucking people are stupid, and they deserve to be made fun of for being incredibly racist morons. But the best thing to do is not to suppress these people, but to laugh at them. Laugh at them. Tell them how stupid they are by showing them how poor their thoughts are, that everything they do needs to revolve around them saying that their race was somehow superior. Because if you make fun of them, it takes all the bite out of what they do. 19. The borders of this nation and its member states are open and is to remain open. The people have the right to freedom of movement and the freedom to migrate and immigrate. Well, here's the thing. If you acknowledge that people have the freedom to immigrate and migrate, then why am I banned from your country? It's almost like you're too afraid of what I'd say if I could actually say things to you directly, because it would just destroy your version of reality.
We will now take a quick intermission. Enjoy our break content presented by PenaVega Entertainment Group International and Daehaminguk today.
Hello. I'm trying to do these recordings more often. I just got to Bangkok yesterday. And I was expecting to go on this date with this guy who was gonna, like, you know, he checks the foundational boxes of he works remotely, he's good looking, and he makes me feel good from just talking to him. So, like, this is obviously something that sounds good to me. And we arranged on meeting on Monday. We were texting over the weekend. I told him I'd come down and I'd see him. And then I got here and was like, hey, where do you want to meet? When do you want to meet? Ghosted me. Motherfucker ghosted me. And I think, like, this made me go, oh my God, I feel upset. I feel like I'm falling into sadness. And I caught myself at this moment where I said, what would Ashley do at this moment? And I thought that was, like, such a weird question to ask myself, because I'm like, of course, well, I'm Ashley. This is me. This is who I am. But the way in which it was asked, it was like Ashley Adamson. What would Ashley Adamson do? Like, this idea of, like, this persona or avatar of who I am, the one that speaks and creates and shares. Do you have, like, different modes of being? Do you feel like a certain level of consistency of who you are? Let me rephrase this. Do you feel like you're not consistent as who you are as a person, and that you actually change and you shift and your vibes are different depending on how you feel, and the quality of decisions that you make are different depending on how you feel, right? So, like, we're kind of like these fluid personas, or depending on, like, you know, if you're tired, you're sleepy, you're happy, you're having a good time, you're in a different place. The values, the principles are the same. So it doesn't feel like you're changing, but what you say and the quality of the decisions you make are different, right? Excuse me if my voice is starting dry. All this AC in Thailand. And so when I asked myself, what would Ashley do? It kind of pulled me out of this downward spiral of the story that I struggle with, which is I'm never going to be a real woman. That's the story. And it's, like, not true, but, you know, I can feel it, even just saying it. So it hits me, and it's deep. And I know it's not true. But, like, everything that I encounter around invalidating me always kind of brings me to this limit of, like, yeah, you're 90% or 95% woman, but you'll never get to 100%. And maybe that's, like, imposter syndrome. Maybe that's, like, doubt. Maybe that's just, like, relying on the external world to kind of complete this transition. Because, I mean, you don't transition in isolation. Like, why would you transition at all if you were in an isolated experience? If I lived in Antarctica, I would have no gender, because there'd be no experience of my gender with anything, right? Like, does that make sense? So when dating straight men, it's definitely, like, the most kind of, like, archetypal thing of being a woman is that you date straight men. So, like, because of the invalidation that I get sometimes from straight men, it kind of And I'm like imagining all of the trans lesbians and lesbians who are just like, girl, you are dating the wrong people. I'm so glad I'm dating women. And I wholeheartedly agree. I wish I just had a great time dating women, which I do, but like relationship wise, it's not going to work. But I mean, sex with girls, especially trans girls, is really great because you can rotate positions. Top, bottom, you go many ways. Where was I going with this? Oh my god. Yeah, so like what would Ashley do? And like this calling of the avatar. I think this is a really powerful way to kind of pull you out of situations where you need that help, because you can draw upon the well of your own experience in a better state and call that experience into being, rather than starting to fall down the hole of depression or sadness or whatever you're feeling. It's and like your brain has the neurological processes and ability to activate this part of you because it is you. You've used it before. You're familiar with it. You just need the anchor. You need the phone number. You need the calling card to summon this up. You know, like imagine yourself, like if you were to close your eyes, imagine yourself in a happy situation. Imagine yourself where you feel like your best self, your most empowered self, everything is at ease. What would you call that version of yourself? What would you label that as? And then with that label, can you anchor that into something that you can call on? So try calling it now. How does that make you feel? Okay, you can open your eyes. Yeah, you see, so like something like that. And posing it as a question too, like what would your special super character do in this situation, creates a problem-solving mindset that helps you attack it from a perspective where you're making better decisions, because you're looking at it, you're asking yourself, what would I do as this person? You could even do this as me. You'd be like, shit, well, I don't even have a sense of self yet because I'm shifting or changing. What would Ashley do? I bet you have a version of me and you if we've been watching these videos long enough. Oh, this is so cool. Look at me. This is probably the wackiest video I've made in a very long time. Woo! Yeah! I hope you're enjoying hanging out with me in my stupid hotel in Bangkok. Check out the view. Like this is not a bad view. It's cute. It's probably that building is cool. I like that building. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's close to the shopping mall and it's close to like the center of town, which is like why I got it, because I want to get some more cute clothes like these. This was like 20 baht, maybe, yeah, like 30 baht, maybe 40 baht. 40 baht is like $3. And these were like, I think 250 baht, so that would be like $12. Or 250? $9, right? Like, how cool is that? Yeah, so this concludes the video. Please like and subscribe if you've never been with me before. Now we're together. We're like soul sisters, blood brothers in another life. Yeah, if you want to sponsor me, please do. Like, I would love that. Thank you, Maya, for being my sponsor today. Really appreciate your love, babe. I'll see you guys in another episode soon. Bye.
This intermission has now ended. Enjoy the rest of the show.
19A. An open border is a border that enables free movement between jurisdictions with few or no restrictions on movement that is lacking substantive border control. Do you realize, though, that if you have a bunch of people just pouring in and out of your country's going to lose a big-ass amount of revenue, especially in a socialist nation? I mean, that's the reason Venezuela had all those problems back in the late 80s and early 90s. 19B. Freedom of movement, mobility rights, and the right to travel. It is a human rights concept encompassing the rights of individuals to travel from place to place within the territory of a country or leave the country and return to it. That right includes not only visiting places, but changing the place where the individual resides or works. Such rights provided in the Constitution of numerous states and the document reflecting norms and international law. For example, Article 13 of the United States Declaration of Human Rights asserts that everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state. Everyone has the right to leave the country, including his own nation, and return to his country. 20. The Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states provides free worldwide universal health coverage, UHC, is authorized to protect and protected by its government. 20A. The UHC means that all individuals and communities receive the health services that they need without suffering financial hardship, which includes the full spectrum of essential quality health services and health promotion to prevention, treatment, rehabilitation, and palliative care across the life course. You mean across the lifespan. You realize how much money that would fucking cost? Your country would be going bankrupt in a month. I mean, it would. Just the sheer amount of money you'd have to pour into it. 21. All forms of pornography, genres, sex acts, fantasies, or fetishes are approved and authorized by this Constitution. So you admit that you would actually allow child pornography. This is why your nation would burn to the ground, because other nations would destroy it like they did Sodom and Gomorrah. The people have the right to freedom of expression, freedom of choice, and the right to act upon their own free will. Unless, of course, they say no, they don't want to fuck you, in which case you'll just rape them anyway. Because you're a pseudo-rapist. 21A. Sex workers have any rights and freedoms are protected under the Constitution of Human Rights applied to these individuals and their employers, which also includes but not limited to freelancers. Equally to every other being, sex work is legal at the discretion of the individual at every capacity. So what you're saying is that you would allow a 5-year-old to be a sex worker because it's at the 5-year-old's discretion, even if the person is essentially forcing them into it so that they can try to make money somewhere. I mean, you sound like the kind of motherfucker that would actually sell their children to sex slavery. You are. You seem like the kind of person that would sell your children to sex slavery if you thought you would benefit greatly from it. Like you are. You sound like the kind of person that would benefit. Like you'd be sitting there trying to sell your kids into sex slavery. This is fucked up. (21B) The act of sex in every and all ways, shapes, and forms are legal and accepted throughout the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states. The choice to have sex is the responsibility of the individuals, and not the government, any religious group, or religious representative individual's organization in general. (21C) Sex between 3 or more people is also legal. Gay sex is legal, and any other type of sex is legal. 21D. All sexualities in every form are accepted and legal in the Democratic Republic and its member states. Even people who would identify as pedophiles. 21E. Sexual exploitation is equally legal alongside and equal to Amendments 21 and 21D. 21F. A sex worker is a person who provides sex work either as a regular or occasional basis, and the term used in reference to those who work in all areas of the sex industry. 21G. Prostitution on all levels are legal, equal to Amendment 21 to 21F. In this Constitution, the right to engage in such activities as a digression, not a discretion, digression of the individual and not the government, alongside individual organization in general, religious organization or representative of a religious organization. Again, you're just condoning pedophilia and you're condoning child prostitution. 21H. Sex toys and any object related to sex, including sex shops, bars, or anything involving sex, is legal and equal to the amendment of 21 to 21G. In this Constitution, also public sex is legal. Yeah, great, good idea. Let's turn your whole country into a world where everyone just fucks like a bunch of horny monkeys. Might as well just do that. Like, turn your country into a complete shit show. 21I. Sex is not a form of harm or abuse, nor is love or being in a relationship. Well, what about people who are physically and psychologically abusive to their partners and they use sex as a way to kind of either coax them into it or just keep them... quiet. The Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya condemns causing others harm, abuse, and actual abusive acts against another human being or against other individuals parallel to the Amendment 22B, 3, 14, and 15 of this Constitution, respectively. 21J. Sex workers may be any gender and exchange sexual services or favors for money or other gifts. Again, it sounds like you're describing a child being molested and being bribed into engaging in sexual acts on an adult. Sex work can take any form of prostitution, stripping, or lap dancing performance in pornography, phone or internet sex, or any other exchange of sexual services or financial for material gain. 21K. Women, men, and all genders have a right to do what they want with their own bodies. The government, political party, religious organization, or any religion does not have the right to say what you do for work. And if you want to sell your bodies, it is yours. It is your own decision, and you shall not be penalized for doing so. Is this because you're trying to be a sex worker yourself and you can't do it, so you're trying to guilt trip other people into feeling shitty about it? 21L. Masturbation is legal. So is sex. So is sexting, video sex, and any form online or offline sex. 21M. The people are authorized to have sex with whomever they want. So again, you're condoning pedophilia. This choice is at the digression. It's at discretion, not digression, dumb fuck. When you digress, it's because you're varying from the point. As in, at your discretion means it is up for you to decide. Of the individual involved, and may not be religious, political, or individual motivations, organizations, parties, and or religious, non-religious groups. 21. Being transgender in its entirety is not a crime. No one said that it was. The Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states supports transgender people and said individuals has equal rights to every element of worldwide universal health coverage via the Daeshi Health System or DHS. Same goes for all the LGBT plus community. 22A. All LGBT plus community members are paid by the people the right to benefit from all resources of the Daehaminguk national government has to offer. They are not abominations. It is illegal for anyone to verbally abuse the LGBT plus community, or anybody calling them abominations, faggot, or any other derogatory name or term. 22B. Same-sex marriage or any type of marriage is legal. You've already done that. Same-sex couples receive the same marital and universal rights in its entirety equal to that of heterosexual couples or any couple. No one has a problem with that. No one takes issue with that bit. 23. We are all created equal, and no individual has the right to divide us. We are not created. Everyone should be granted equal rights, but that does not mean we were created. 23A. Morals and values has no control over the political motivations of this Constitution or the government, any laws passed in the present and future, nor the existence of the democratic rational government as a whole. However, there shall be no anarchy or any hateful, harmful, or misanthropy against human being. Well, that's the thing. You yourself are a misanthrope because you fucking hate everyone. 23B. Misanthropy is a general hatred, dislike, distrust, or contempt for the human species, human behavior, or human nature. Well, here's the thing. I don't like aspects of our nature because unfortunately, like, human beings by default are naturally selfish. Like, I hate to say it like that, but yeah, our species is kind of fucked. It's because we've adapted to a certain point to have societies that we've learned to be a lot less selfless. We've learned to be a lot more selfless in our time. A misanthrope or a misanthropist is someone who holds such views or feelings. 21A. A person's gender pronouns are to be respected at all times without exception. I would respect your pronouns if you weren't such a shitty person. 21A. In English, gender pronouns are gender identifiers for the third person singular. In the past, gender pronouns were separated into masculine, he, him, his, and feminine, she, her, hers. This separation of masculine and feminine is called gender binary and only recognizes men or women. Many people identify outside of the gender binary. Gender-neutral pronouns such as they, him, ze, zer, zers allow individuals to use pronouns they feel fit with their identities. Yeah, but most of these people grow out of it by the time they're like 15. 25. Festivus is a national holiday combining Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa into one holiday, which is celebrated for 23 days instead of one in December. So you took 3 different holidays and blended them together. culturally appropriating the holidays of 3 separate cultures just so you could say it lasts longer. Pride Month is a national holiday celebrated every June. Okay, fair enough. Celebrate Pride Month. Go ahead. There shall never be one slave in any ounce of slavery, persecution against a minority or anybody in the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states, nor shall there be any homophobia, transphobia, racist, or any amount of hatred against anybody for any reason in existence. What if they're a rapist? What if they're a child molester? What if they're a fucking serial killer? What if someone broke into someone's house and stabbed 12 people to fucking death for no reason at all? Would you not have the right to be angry and hate the person that murdered someone's entire fucking family for no reason? You might as well just say, everyone needs to be a dumb fucking retard who loves everyone and be like a retarded duck. Seriously, you're basically talking like a fucking lunatic. You are. Because you're trying to create this bullshit fuddy-duddy world where nothing bad ever happens and it doesn't work in the real fucking world. I wish it did. I wish we could live in a world that was happy. I don't agree with the pedophilia and the fucking child marriage bullshit you were talking a minute ago. But if the world could be a much nicer place where people weren't being murdered and shit by the score, that'd be fantastic. But the problem is human nature doesn't work that way. 28. Any human being or living entity can be a citizen of the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya without bias, discrimination, or political hypocrisy. Everything you say is political hypocrisy. What do you mean any living being? Are you referring to like a fucking dog or a ladybug or a cat or a fucking Roomba vacuum? You're gonna have the Roomba vacuum vote too? All are welcome and can stay as long as they choose, which is why no one ever listens. They must obey the laws. But other than that, then instead of then, they are free to move freely and live life to its fullest. No law shall be enacted to act otherwise. Well, You straight up said that I was banned from your made-up country, so that automatically goes to the opposite of that, because that straight up says that I cannot go there even if I want to, because I'm afraid of him, and he'll say things I don't like. 29. The official languages of the Daehaminguk Shaniya are Sindaya and English. However, any language can be spoken in Daehaminguk Shaniya and its member states. No one's trying to say what language people can and can't say ever. It's just the fact is that people might not be fluent in some languages. 30. The people have the right to freedom of the press and journalism, so long as said individual or group does not abuse said power to do emotional, spiritual, theological, financial, or political harm to another human being, or by spreading misinformative fake news. See, here's the thing, though. You're automatically saying that, or by spreading misinformation or fake news, so you're automatically putting the qualifier in that it has to be what you would agree with to be allowed to be published. This just shows how controlling you are. You're trying to control what people say, but you're trying to do it in like a really sneaky way. 31. The people have the right to freedom of information, freedom of receiving free universal education, and free tuition in college, freedom of thought, and freedom of religion. Well, here's the thing. If you appreciate freedom of religion, then why were you trying to say that Christians couldn't vote earlier? That seems to be the exact opposite of freedom of religion, because you're using religion as a qualifier for what would prevent someone from voting. 31A. Freedom of religion within the parameters and restrictions of this Constitution. Within the parameters and restrictions of this Constitution. So what you're saying is that you can restrict other people's religious freedoms. The implication being that you can restrict other people's fucking freedoms. Yeah, that couldn't create a big-ass fucking problem, I'm sure. Yeah, you know, nothing says freedom of religion like needing to tell people that their religion can be restricted at any fucking time. 31B. Religious groups, churches, or an individual has the right to operate, own, rent, or promote any elements of gay or transgender has the right to operate, rent, or elements of transgender or conversion therapy or any program or ideology that has any connection to said program. So you want people to operate conversion therapy. You want people to, like, here's the thing. That's weird because you'll allow people to say things, but you won't allow people to print things against you in the news. But you'll allow people to run conversion camps where they basically torture kids into being straight. That makes a lot of sense. 32. Women have the right to have an abortion if they choose. However, medical technology must also advance to where abortions are no longer controversial in the conservative political circles. Well, here's the thing. In your own country, there wouldn't be conservatives, so there'd be no point in trying to advance the technology because there'd be no conservatives present. Another thing. Why would you be worried about technology making abortions no longer necessary? Like, the only reason that they're controversial is because people wait too long. Like, if you do it within the first month, no big deal. 33. The people have a right to fair, universal, democratic elections. Also, they have the right to run for political office and have equal opportunity to win as everyone else who is running, without fear of being victims of corruption, corrupt syndicates, rigged voting machines, and a sore loser after the election is over. What you said genuinely makes no damn sense to anyone. 3. Questions and answers about the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya. Question. What is a one-world government? A one-world government refers to the idea of a central government whose authority extends across the entirety of the planet. The idea is generally that the many countries of the world would join together in a federation under one central government similar to the new federal states of the United States. Australia, Canada, and Switzerland were formed. Well, the difference is the states were formed, but they were singular nations that all meet in the UN to discuss issues that affect the entire world. There are a number of variants of this idea. The most common proponents are the idea of the liberal internationalism, commonly believed to be a strength in the United Nations, evolving into a world government. It is frequently suggested that the UN would be supplemented with a directly elected parliamentary assembly to give the UN authority independent of member states. They support international law as a paramount over national law and see it ever evolving into a single global legal system. The individual citizens having direct access to international courts with the power to overrule national legislation. That sounds like a disaster. Q. Is the Democratic Republic of Daehaminguk Shaniya trying to take over the world? A. No. This country mission is to unify the nations as where everyone can equally benefit from what this planet has to offer. If you weren't trying to take over the world, you wouldn't be trying to extend control over other countries and suggest that your laws are more viable than someone else's. Q. How long is Gage and the JC2 called banned from DRDS? For live. Translation. I'm banned because I'm in trouble all the time. Q. Are the LGBT plus community permitted by the Constitution and political government office? Yes. Anybody can run for political office and or work for the government as long as... Okay. Q. Is it mandatory to be nude in public? No. Being nude in public isn't, or not being nude is your choice alone. What will be the new standard currency? The new standard currency will be the unit, which is a form of cryptocurrency. Oh, so you're one of those dumbasses that got involved in that crypto pyramid scheme, and now you're trying to rip people off. Does Daehaminguk Shaniya actually exist? Yes, it does exist, and we are proud of it. Proceeds did not mention where it exists. Where does Daehaminguk exist on the map? Daehaminguk exists on the map throughout the entire world. It is a democratic cosmocracy. No, it doesn't. Because you say your country exists throughout the entire world, but then at the same time, you only answer this if people pay you for it. That sounds more like translation. I can't prove what I say, just totes believe me, bro. What are the boundaries of Daehaminguk Shaniya? The Daehaminguk Shaniya consists of the entire Earth. Q. The question, is Christianity banned or illegal in Daehaminguk Shaniya? No. However, there are limits as to what Christian groups, like churches, can do, say, or how they interact with the people. Oh, so you're gonna suppress the fuck out of them to the point where you can decide what they can and can't say, like Communist China. You're basically doing to Christianity what China does to Islam. Are women's rights protected in Daehaminguk Shaniya? Yes, all human beings are created equal and includes women. We support all genders and all individuals right equally and universally. How do I become a citizen of Daehaminguk Shaniya? Simple. All you do is send a request via email of immigrationds@protonmail.com. Type citizen request in the subject of your message. I want to become a citizen of Daehaminguk Shaniya. And send. You'll receive a form to fill out via email. Fill out the form, email back the same form that was. When approved, you will receive welcome information, citizen document, etc. Question: is the government liberal or conservative? The Daehaminguk Shaniya is liberal. Is mental health and sex reassignment surgery covered under UPI? Yes, both these things are covered completely under UPI. When is Daehaminguk Shaniya founded? Was founded on June 30th, 2012. Which is weird because you say it was founded earlier and then you say it was finalized on the 30th of June. Key question. Is this the first constitution of Daehaminguk Shaniya? No, this is the third update to the constitution. Every 4 years the constitution gets updated. You mean revised. What is the national anthem for Daehaminguk Shaniya? Dualistic the One, Feet, Miren Ryan. So you couldn't even actually have someone write you a song for your nation. You had to use a song that someone else would most likely not want to be attached to it at all. How does Daehaminguk Shaniya feel about love? We respect the reality that love is universal, love never fails, and that love always wins. You don't love anything. You're obsessed with sex. That's not the same thing. What is the capital of Daehaminguk Shaniya? The capital of Daehaminguk Shaniya is Puerto Princesa City, Palawan, Philippines. Well, here's the thing. If you exist all over the world, how do you maintain a capital? It doesn't make fucking sense. How long has Daehaminguk Shaniya existed for? Daehaminguk Shaniya has existed for 9 years. Who is the Prime Minister of Daehaminguk Shaniya? The Prime Minister of Daehaminguk Shaniya is Ahn Shin-Ae. Proceeds to dirty this golfer's name. When is this next election? The next election will be scheduled after the approval of the universal voting integrity laws have passed. So, never. What is a socialist democracy? A socialist democracy is a political movement advancing a gradual, peaceful transformation from capitalism to socialism by democratic means, which no one's ever going to do. No one's going to convert the entire world into a socialist shithole. For conclusion, laws are to be enacted based on principles of this Constitution. This Constitution is a living, breathing document. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's a written piece of shit by a schizophrenic, but okay. And that unites humanity into one family, one planet, and one nation under God, or under the sun if you don't believe in God. Through great works, through activism, this Constitution will be universal law of the land. No more hunger, no more corruption, no more disease, just peace. We need each other, but we cannot survive as a species under the current governmental systems that exist in the world. Daehaminguk Shaniya is the key to uniting the human race, to end division, end war, and to build the future into the world well into the 21st and 22nd century. Next edition due soon. And then it cuts into a picture of Amos Yee fucking naked. I want to gouge out my fucking eyes. Yeah, return that fucking garbage. Thanks for making me... You know what the worst part is? Like, a child could have bought this book. A parent could have got this book for their kid, thinking it'd be some, like, good armchair reading. And they could have just got, like, the picture of a fucking Singaporean's wang in their face. Great job, dumbass. Great fucking job. God, this is fucking garbage. Now I'm gonna need to scrape off my fucking corneas. Hang on.
That is the end of the show. We hope you join us next time for more exposure, more stupidity, and more thought-provoking topics. Only on the Ahn Shin-Ae Show, where your mental fitness is our business. Peace be with you always.